Hi, I'm Sarah Smith, a horticulturalist here at Rogers Gardens, and I want to introduce you to a new series that I'm starting, and it's all about garden myths, misnomers, misconceptions, all the crazy kind of wives' tale things that have been handed down from generation to generation that I hear all the time here at the nursery that are incredibly wrong. I hear them all the time. So what I want to do is kind of break them down, why they're wrong and what you should be doing instead, so everybody can be super successful and hopefully you can spread the word to your friends as well. Part of the reason some of these things have also been handed down generation to generation is now with things like the internet and especially AI, it is telling you the wrong things. Just because you read it online does not make it true. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. I'm going to do a series of these. So in every single series, we'll have a couple of different ones. So make sure you check them all out. And once you're done with the series, you will be an excellent gardener and you'll have all the tips and tricks and you'll look like a pro as well. Okay, so the number one thing that I hear all the time, the questions I get asked about all the time, the information I hear shoppers tell other shoppers that I have to interrupt them and say, no, actually that's wrong, all the time, is adding anything weird to the bottom of your pot. Anything meaning anything other than potting soil all the way down to the bottom. I'm constantly having people ask me questions about that. I hear as weird things as crushed up water bottles or gravel or sand or crushed up other pottery. I am guilty of this as well. When I first started gardening, I did that all the time. And then what would happen is I would dump that pot over and think, ew, it smells really bad on the bottom. And how come this isn't draining well anymore? And people think that they're actually improving the drainage by doing this, and they're actually hindering the drainage really bad, and they're compacting that plant down and making it really unhappy. Soil all the way down to the bottom, even if it's a gargantuanly big pot. The more soil, the better for the plant, the more space for roots. Why are we hindering the roots when you can give it as much root space as it wants? Soil all the way down. What winds up happening when you put sand or gravel or something like that, when the water makes its way through the one layer of soil and hits another layer of a different kind of texture, it slows the water down. The way you know this, think about, like, remember the old school ant farms, or when you would make filter systems in school as like an old science project, you would watch the water trickle down through, hit the other layer and stop. And it would build up, and then it has to work its way through the next layer. And what also winds up happening when you add sand and things to other soils, it makes it like concrete. It makes it really hard, and it makes it so it does not drain well. So we want to stop doing this. Just buy good quality potting soil. It's gonna be perfectly drained. And the big key about this is good quality potting soil. Make sure that it's not some cheapy thing. Why buy a cheap, bad quality potting soil and have to buy another bag of perlite or another bag of sand and mix it yourself? We don't need to be chemists. They come made for us. One of my favoriteest ones is the Malibu potting soil. The best. It drains super good, has really good nutrients in this. So also too, you don't have to worry about adding any other kind of nutrients. A little bit of fertilizer for whatever it is that you're planting in there when you first plant it is a great thing to add in, but that's it. Let's keep it simple, and it all the way down to the bottom. Maybe you're worried about the soil coming out the bottom of the hole. Let me show you a trick for that as well. Let's say you have a giant hole for some reason on the bottom of your pot. You probably don't, but maybe you do. If you have a giant hole in the bottom of your pot, we sell these little pot screens, which is really nice. So this will keep it from falling out the bottom of the pot. I don't use these very often unless, for example, I have some kind of weird hole in the bottom, or maybe I bought a pot that didn't have a hole and I had to drill a hole, and maybe I drilled the hole a little too big. I will use these on the bottom. This will just keep the soil from falling out. I especially will use these if I'm putting a pot on top of, say, my outdoor coffee table or my outdoor side table, and I don't want soil getting all over that. If my pot's just going on concrete outside, I don't worry about it too much, but these are really helpful. It's basically just a little screen. It's cut in a little circle. Each one of these contains, 5 screens. So it's great for having for multiples. The other thing I want to talk about is, where are you putting that pot if you're putting it outside? Are you putting it on a saucer? No, don't put it on a saucer. Let me show you what you should be doing instead. So the second part to this is, a lot of times people are putting their pots on little saucers, and they're doing that because they want to protect the ground, because they're worried about soil falling through. We don't have to now, because you know all about the screens. Or they're worried about the water getting onto maybe a wooden patio or onto their pretty travertine or something like that. The problem with the saucers is, now your water's going through your pot really well. It's not getting stagnant and rotting out your plants inside because it's soil all the way down. But the water's coming out the bottom of the pot, and now it's sitting in that water, which is really bad. You do not want it sitting on a saucer filled with the water that just came through the pot, where the plant now sucks that back up. We have a lot of salts in our water here in Southern California, so that causes a lot of leaf burn. It also creates a problem for the plant because it can never fully dry out. And those saucers create condensation rings. So what you were trying to avoid in the first place by having water all over your concrete or your travertine or your wood patio, you now have a circle of condensation created there. And then when you go to move that, oh no, now you have a big ring underneath there, which is what you were trying to stop in the first place. So the solution to that, and for the health of the plants as well, is pot feet. I adore pot feet. Pot feet are amazing little contraptions. You just slide this up underneath the pot. They come in plastic. The package of this comes with enough for 2 pots. You only need 3 per pot typically, unless it's a really, really big pot. But you just slide these up underneath, and what is great about these is they come in different colors, so you can kind of match your pot. But unless you have like a really unusual color, like a blue or a green, you don't have to really worry about it. But the ones I really particularly like is these little guys. They look just like a little pie wedge, and it's black. What I love about this is you can slide this underneath your pot and kick it in just enough so you actually don't see this. It lifts your pot off the ground just by a little bit, and you can't see it because it's black. The water's now coming through, draining freely, which is great for the plant, and you can rinse underneath it, and you're not creating a condensation ring. So that is fantastic. Water's not going to stay still and stagnant underneath that saucer and ruin anything that it's sitting on. Most pots these days don't even come with matching saucers. So that's another problem that we have with this. If you absolutely must have a saucer underneath your pot for whatever reason, a great trick to do is still use these pot feet. You'll put your saucer down, you'll put your feet down, you'll put your pot on there. You won't even see it because it's very short, but it's gonna pop that pot off of that saucer so the water can freely drain into that saucer, so it's not making contact with the bottom of the pot. That way your plants can be really, really happy and healthy. So the thing I want you to do, nothing weird on the bottom of your pot. Soil all the way down. That's really important. All of the pots that we sell here, most of them don't even come with saucers, because they don't even make saucers for pots hardly anymore, because it's not great for your plants. So if you're wondering why you can't find a matching saucer, it's because you should not be doing that anyways. But all the plants that we sell here, these beautiful ones that we plant up here at Rogers, it's soil all the way down. Nothing weird in the bottom. So I want you to spread the word, make sure everybody knows, and make your plants really happy, make your pots really happy, make your life a ton easier, make it so you don't have condensation rings on the ground, and everything will be easy peasy. So if you know this one trick, this is the one biggest trick that I want everybody to know about. It's really simple and makes your life even easier. My next one that I hear a lot from people is, people come in and they tell me about how they took an avocado pit and they did that old school science project where maybe they stuck little toothpicks in it and sat it on top of a jar filled with water, and they grew this beautiful little avocado tree, and they're so proud of it, and they've had it for 10 years, and how come it's not making fruit, and why am I not getting any avocados off of this, and this is a little baby that I've been babying for 10 years and I'm not getting any fruit off of it. That's because you probably won't. They are not going to produce produce a tree that actually gives you good avocados, if any at all. Or if it does, people want to know, why does it taste like cardboard? It's super gross inside. How come the pit is huge and there's hardly any flesh on the inside of the avocado when I open it up? Or they say, I have an avocado tree in my backyard and the avocados are super weird. It's all pit, or they're super tiny and they never get big, or they taste really gross, or they're a weird color inside. And that's because they have an avocado tree that they grew from an avocado pit. It is a really fun science project. I love doing this with kids. It's really cool for them to see how the seed kind of splits open and how it comes out. It's a great one to dissect, so you can pull it apart once that happens, so you can have the kids look inside and see how the roots come down and how the stem comes up, and talk about, is it the cotyledon, and is it a dicot or a monocot, and all those kind of fun science project-y things. But once the kid gets bored of it, chuck it. Once you get bored of it, chuck it. Or maybe you just want something that's pretty and you could say that I grew this, but don't expect it to do anything. So you cannot come in and buy any kind of fertilizer and make it do anything other than be kind of a bleh avocado. The avocado trees that you are getting your fruit off of have been grafted. The avocado trees that we sell here have been grafted. That means they're taking a branch off of a avocado that produces something really good, so it's a Haas or a Forte or something like that, and they're grafting it onto a different rootstock. So it's like Frankensteining a plant, which is kind of cool when you think about it. But they take the seedling of a really good root producing type of avocado, they grow it, they chop it, and then they take a branch off of another tree, they make a V cut into the bottom of that rootstock, and they smash the other branch in there, they tape it up, and they grow together. It is really kind of another very cool science-y project sort of thing. It's something that you can do as a home gardener. It's something I haven't done since college because I just buy my avocado trees. But it's never going to give you a pit that's going to produce the same type of avocado as what it is. So you do not want to deal with that or mess around with that or be disappointed because you did nothing wrong. That is just what it's going to do. So if you want to have a good quality avocado that produces something super yummy that you can share with your friends and use at home, you want to buy the actual tree so you can have that. So we sell tons of trees here at Rogers Gardens. Again, they've all been grafted. So you can see the rootstock is big and chunky and kind of gnarly, and then there's this nice new branch here, and that's where they took the branch off of the fruiting avocado that they want, and they've grafted it onto a different rootstock. So you know it's actually going to produce something yummy. You want to make sure you buy them this way. So you can come into the store. We usually have avocados here year round that you can buy. You can pretty much plant an avocado year round here in Southern California. We're really, really lucky that way. And we have all different types of avocados here. Smaller ones, bigger ones, A types, B types. We'll get into that one later. So make sure you stay tuned for, do you need an A type? Do you need a B type? We'll talk all about that in another video. A quick little spoiler is you do not need two. You can pick the one that you want and you're going to be fine. And plant that into the ground and make sure you fertilize it and you'll have great avocados. If you come into the store, even if you can't get into the store, you can look online. We sell tons and tons of fruit trees online, even more than what we have room for here in the store. So let's say you really want an unusual type of avocado, like you want a holiday, or you want a Forte, or maybe a Reed avocado, which is amazing, a bacon, those giant ones. We have all of those available online as well. So you can order your tree there. It comes into the store, or you can have it delivered here into Orange County. For the last one for this series is stop cultivating your soil. There is no need to grab one of those little claw kind of looking rake things and go around and dig your soil up like crazy to try to add air or fluff up the soil. That is not needed. That actually causes a lot more damage than actually good. If you're trying to get a weed out, sure, dig around there to kind of pull that weed out. Don't go through your whole entire bed scratching at the surface thinking you're actually doing anything. that is cutting through roots, surface roots that are really needed. That is discouraging microorganisms that are in the ground. It's causing all kinds of problems, way more damage than good. If you think your soil is very hard and you need to kind of fluff it up, you need to add good soil to that soil. And you do not need to mix that all in either, because again, it's cutting through all the roots and causing all kinds of problems with killing off all the good microorganisms that are living in that soil, and also bringing up weed seeds that have been kind of dormant in the ground to the surface. Now you're adding water and you're thinking, gosh, I went through and I added all this good soil and I mixed it all up and I started watering and now I have a ton of weeds. That's because you brought those all to the surface. So you don't want to do that. The really simple answer to this is add good compost, add good mulch. End of story. It's super simple. Here we love the Malibu brand. We also have great brands like Seacoast Compost, and all you have to do is just add a nice layer to the soil. You can add it underneath your plants. Don't get it too close to the trunks, because we don't want to add a lot of wet soil to a dry barky trunk, because you can rot things out. So we're not talking big giant layers. We're talking maybe an inch, maybe half an inch even. Nice thin layer. Put that out. The Malibu compost, my favorite. Worm castings are a great thing to add underneath your plants because it adds a good enzyme into the plants, which discourages bugs. Add a layer of good mulch. So when we talk about compost, we're talking about a really rich, organic, broken down soil. Not potting soil, that's different. We want compost. If you're seeing perlite or sand or rocks, you're using the wrong thing. Do not layer that on top of your plants. Compost looks like just really dark, rich, beautiful soil. And then you can add mulch to the top of that. And that's when we're talking about barks. We're talking about shredded wood products, things like that. I love the shredded mulch that we use here. It's a cedar mulch. Think about cedar closets, cedar hangers. It naturally repels bugs. It smells good. It looks pretty. None of this dyed stuff. Get away from dyed mulch. Gross. It's going to fade. It's adding dyes to the ground. It's bad for all those good little microorganisms in the ground. So we want to stay away from that as well. So all of these things we have here at Rogers Gardens. If you're doing these things, you're going to be a great gardener. If you're giving this information to your friends, you're going to be super successful. These are the questions I get asked about all the time. And again, we're going to do more in this series, so we'll talk about more things. So once you watch all of these series, you'll have all the answers. Before you follow garden advice blindly that you found on AI or your neighbor told you, make sure you kind of understand why. Why am I supposed to be doing this? If it doesn't make sense, don't do it. If you have questions, come and ask us, call us. If you have questions, leave them down below in the comments and I will get to those questions for you and we'll add it to some of the series, because I hear all kinds of crazy wackadoodle things and I want to make sure that everybody has the right information. Not everything that your grandma told you to do for your garden is the right thing. There's a lot of things we've realized now don't work and are actually harmful for the plants. A lot of things have changed in the gardening world. We're always learning and understanding plants more and better. And make sure that you follow us and that you stay tuned for the next series. So you can always find all this information if you subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on all of our social media platforms, and we will let you know when the next series comes out. So thank you so much for staying tuned in, and I appreciate all of you, and be well and be safe and happy gardening. Bye.